Just speaking to obviously Arlovski, going back to obviously your fight on Saturday, he said obviously when I asked about obviously your paths maybe crossing before back in 2010 and that never happened, he said go and ask Josh. So what's your response to that? Obviously, why did that not come about?
The big reason it didn't come about is because Affliction went and ran a show in Vegas when I said from the beginning, we don't need to be in Vegas. Don't go to Vegas. Vegas is UFC land. It's just not going to work out. So, but there was a lot.
Sorry to interrupt you, but he seemed angry at you for some reason. Which is why I wanted, obviously, say to you.
Oh, well, I'm so angry that he got to fight on Showtime with Elite XC and fight Roy Nelson and get a win. So, I don't know. I don't know what he's so mad about, but. I'll give him something to be angry about, or at least depressed about, after Saturday.
So, George, both you and Arlovski are extremely experienced veterans. You fought the who's who of the heavier divisions. But what do you feel that you present to Arlovski that he hasn't seen before in previous opponents?
Gorgeous blue eyes, a certain chiseled jawline, and a very masculine profile.
How have the fans here in Germany kind of reacted to you or responded to you so far?
I don't know. I haven't met a lot of fans in Germany yet. From what I'm hearing, MMA has not been the kind of thing that has been able to break mainstream in Germany. We'll see after Saturday.
Can you talk a little bit about Karl Gotch from Belgium? Because we are from Belgium.
Yeah. Karl Gotch was an amazing person, not just in the realm of professional wrestling, but for modern MMA. He is a good reason of why modern MMA emerged out of Japan, starting from the New Japan Dojo. I guess I'm considered kind of a great grandchild of Gotch because his original students were the people that passed down a lot of the techniques that came to the people that taught me. And so through Karl Gotch trained Sayama and Fujiwara, who trained Yorinaga Nakamura, who trained Eric Paulson, trained me. And Karl Gotch trained Minoru Suzuki and Funaki, who trained Matt Hume, who trained me. So, I have a very close lineage to Gotch. I got to train with him some and meet him. And he was a fantastic man. I wish I could have had more time with. But I do carry on. I try to think that I carry on his legacy in combat sports, as well as Billy Robinson's and that whole Wigan Snake Pit history. So when I'm going to the ring, Karl is with me, Billy's with me.
Speaking of Japan, you recently were training with a friend of ours, Carl Albertsson, who's going to be fighting in Japan soon, and he's a big up-and-coming light heavyweight in Sweden. So I was thinking, for those of you who aren't really aware, could you just talk a little bit about the kind of training you do and what kind of a fighter Albertsson is?
Well, Carl came out last year, I believe, to come and train with me at CSW, and I'm a big fan of Omar Buish and his guys. Carl has a lot of that old school mentality towards training, of being a complete fighter, of a catch wrestling background, as well as also being a talented Sancho fighter. And he's just that kid is I expect him to be the future of MMA at 205. He's a real incredible talent. And while he was there last time, we were able to get him into Metamoris, where he took second place in that Challenger Series. And he also won another grappling tournament after that one that I put him in. Then I was able to talk to the booker for Ryzen and helped Carl to get into Ryzen as well. And so knowing that the openweight GP was coming up, I hit him up and he talked, and we started chatting. So he came out, and I had him come along with my camp and work with him and give him a strength and conditioning program to work with, and to really try and help prep Carl, because I think that he would be a really strong dark horse to win that whole tournament. Only a dark horse because people don't know him yet, but I think that his talent is ever growing, and he's incredible. I think that he could easily be Sweden's best export, next to meatballs and IKEA.
Obviously, coaching, up and coming, and obviously teaching. How does that help you going into your fights?
It just gives me more things to consider mentally. It keeps my mind occupied on fighting, but it also gives me different perspective, so I can apply what I'm giving to my students to myself.